Child gives an old teddy bear to her father, but he finds a hidden letter inside. Michael Anderson was finishing storing the last boxes in the attic when his daughter Emily appeared in the doorway holding a faded teddy bear. The move to the new house in Denver had been difficult for both of them, especially after losing the girl's mother the previous year. "Dad, Grandma Betty gave this to me before we moved," said Emily, holding out the brown toy with a shy smile. "She said it was from great-grandmother Ruth, and that now that I've turned 7 I can keep it." Michael took the bear in his hands and felt a strange familiarity. The fabric was worn by time, but it still held its original shape. When he squeezed the toy against his daughter's chest in a hug, something strange caught his attention. There was something hard inside the bear, something that shouldn't be there. "Emily, has this bear always been like this? It feels like there's something inside it." The girl shook her head, curious. Michael examined the toy more closely and found a small opening in the seam on its back, almost unnoticeable. Carefully, he opened the seam a little more and felt his heart race when his fingers touched paper. It was a letter yellowed by time, carefully folded and stored inside the bear for years, perhaps decades. The envelope bore his name, written in a delicate handwriting he didn't recognize. "To my dear Michael." "What is it, Dad?" asked Emily, stepping closer with eyes shining with curiosity. Michael opened the letter with trembling hands. The first words made him sit on the edge of the bed, trying to process what he was reading. "My dear son, if you are reading this letter, it means I found a way to reach you, even though I cannot be present. My name is Catherine Roberts Anderson, and I am your birth mother." Michael's world collapsed at that moment. His birth mother? But he had been abandoned as a baby. His adoptive father, Robert Anderson, had always told him that his mother had left him at the doorstep of an orphanage and never returned. How could there be a letter from her? Emily noticed the change in her father's face and moved closer. "Dad, are you okay? You look pale." "I'm fine, sweetheart. It's just a surprise. Let's go downstairs and talk with Grandma Betty, okay?" They went down the stairs of the new house, Michael still holding the letter and the bear. Mrs. Betty was in the kitchen preparing lunch when she saw them arrive. The 72-year-old grey-haired lady immediately sensed the tension in the air. "Michael, what happened? You look like you've seen a ghost." Dear listener, if you are enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. "Mrs. Betty, did you know there was a letter inside the bear you gave to Emily?" His mother-in-law's reaction was immediate. She dropped the spoon she was holding, and her hands began to tremble. Her eyes went straight to the letter Michael was holding. "Michael, I can explain." "So you knew?" His voice was filled with disbelief and hurt. "You knew about this Catherine Roberts Anderson?" Mrs. Betty looked at Emily, who was watching everything intently, and then sighed deeply. "Emily, darling, how about you go play in the backyard? The adults need to talk." "But I want to know about the bear too, Grandma." "Go on, sweetheart," Michael asked gently. "I'll explain everything to you later, I promise." When the girl left, Mrs. Betty sat down at the kitchen table, seeming to have aged 10 years in a few minutes. "Michael, I promised my daughter I would never tell. Sarah made me promise on her deathbed before she passed. She said that when the right time came, you would find out on your own." "Find out what?" Michael sat across from his mother-in-law, the letter still in his hands. "Did you know my biological mother?" "Not directly, but Sarah knew. Your wife knew the whole story, Michael. She told me shortly before she left us. Catherine Roberts did not abandon you. She was taken from you." Mrs. Betty's words echoed in Michael's mind like a distant echo. He reread the letter, searching for more clues. "Michael, I know it must be very confusing to receive this letter after so many years. I know they probably told you that I abandoned you, but that is not true. I loved you from the first moment I knew you existed. Every day away from you was a torture that I carry in my heart. They took me from you when you were only 6 months old. They said I wasn't well, that I couldn't take care of a child. They took me to a place where they kept me away from the world, away from you, away from everything I loved." Michael stopped reading. his hands trembling. "Mrs. Betty, what does this mean? What place? Who took her from me?" According to Sarah, Catherine was forcibly committed to a psychiatric hospital. It was common back then, Michael. Young women who had children without being married were considered a problem for the family. It was easier to say they were crazy than to face society's prejudice. Michael felt a wave of anger and sadness at the same time. His mother had not abandoned him. She had been forced to stay away from him. How did Sarah know all this? "Your wife was always very curious about your history, Michael. After you got married, she started investigating. She was the one who found out about Catherine. She was the one who planned for you to receive this letter when Emily turned 7. Why exactly at 7 years old, Mrs. Betty sighed again, her hands clasped on the table. Because Sarah discovered that Catherine is still alive. And she wanted Emily to be old enough to understand the importance of having a grandmother. Michael's heart stopped for a second. His mother was alive. After more than 30 years thinking she had abandoned him, discovering that she still existed was both a blessing and a torment. He continued reading the letter. "If this letter has reached you, it means I managed to convince someone to help. The teddy bear was mine when I was a child. It was the only thing I had left from a life that was taken from me. I kept this letter inside it, hoping that one day, somehow, it would find its way into your hands. I know where you live, Michael. I know you've become a good man, a wonderful father. I've been watching from afar for years, respecting the boundaries that were imposed on me. But my heart can no longer bear this distance. If you want to meet me, look for Rosie's boarding house at 247 Blossom Street in the Newtown neighborhood. It's where I've been living for the past 5 years. But I understand if you don't want to. I understand if it's too difficult. With all my love, Catherine, your mother." Michael finished reading the letter in silence, tears streaming freely down his face. Mrs. Betty stood up and placed her hand on his shoulder. "Michael, I know it's a lot to process all at once, but Sarah always believed you deserved to know the truth." "Is Blossom Street here in Denver?" asked Michael, his voice choked. "Yes, it is. It's on the other side of town, near the old downtown. It's a simple neighborhood, with hard-working people." Michael was silent for a few minutes, processing everything he had discovered. Emily appeared at the kitchen door, sensing that the serious conversation had ended. "Dad, can you explain about the bear now?" Michael looked at his daughter, so small and innocent, and decided she deserved to know at least part of the truth. "You know, Emily, this bear belonged to a very special person, a person I thought didn't exist anymore, but who has actually always been nearby, watching over us from afar." "Who is this person, Dad?" It's your grandmother Catherine, my mother." Emily's eyes widened. "But Dad, I thought you didn't have a mother. You always said you grew up only with Grandpa Robert." "I thought that was the case, my love, but sometimes people need to stay away from those they love, even if they don't want to." For the rest of the day, Michael couldn't think of anything else. Catherine's letter was kept in his shirt pocket, and he touched it from time to time to make sure it hadn't been a dream. That night, after putting Emily to sleep, he sat on the porch of the new house and reread the letter several times. Each word took on a new meaning with every reading. Mrs. Betty joined him on the porch, bringing 2 cups of coffee. "Michael, I know you're confused. It's natural to feel this way." "Mrs. Betty, do you think I should look for her?" "Only you can decide that. But I can tell you what Sarah told me about Catherine." Michael stared at her, waiting. "According to your wife, Catherine never married. She never had other children. She works as a seamstress and lives a simple, honest life. Sarah said she is a sweet woman who carries a lot of love in her heart and a deep sadness in her eyes." "Did Sarah ever meet her?" "Yes, she did. It was Sarah who arranged with her about the teddy bear and the letter. Sarah wanted you to meet, but she knew she wouldn't live long enough to see it happen." Michael felt his chest tighten. His wife Sarah had done all this for him, even knowing she was sick and wouldn't be present to see the reunion. "Why didn't Sarah tell me while she was alive?" "She was afraid of your reaction. She was afraid you would be hurt that she had looked into your life without telling you. And she also wanted to be sure that Catherine was truly a good person. The next morning, Michael woke up determined. He needed to find Catherine. He wouldn't be able to live in peace without at least meeting the woman who brought him into the world. He left Emily with Mrs. Betty and drove to the Newtown neighborhood. Blossom Street was exactly as he had imagined, a narrow street with simple, well-kept houses, where neighbors greeted each other on the sidewalk. Number 247 was a small boarding house, painted light blue, with a wooden sign that said, Mrs. Rose's Boarding House. Michael parked the car in front and spent a few minutes watching the activity. It was a Saturday morning, and there were a few people sitting on the boarding house porch, talking and drinking coffee. An elderly lady, who must have been Mrs. Rose, was sweeping the sidewalk in front of the gate. Michael took a deep breath and got out of the car. His steps to the boarding house seemed to last an eternity. "Excuse me, are you Mrs. Rose?" he asked politely. "Yes, I am, son. How can I help you?" "I'm looking for one of your guests, Catherine Roberts Anderson." Mrs. Rose's face lit up. "Oh, Catherine, what a dear woman. Yes, she is here. She's lived here for 5 years. But today she left early for downtown. She said she was going to church and then running some errands." Michael felt a mixture of relief and frustration. She was there, she really existed, but he had missed the chance to meet her. "Do you know what time she returns?" "She usually comes back around noon for lunch. Are you a relative of hers?" Michael hesitated for a second. I'm her son." Mrs. Rose dropped the broom and put her hand on her heart. "Good heavens! You are Michael, the boy she has been looking for so long? You know my story." "Yes, I do, son. Catherine told me everything. She talks about you every day. She even has some pictures of you that she managed to get somehow. Would you like to come in and wait for her? I'm sure she will be over the moon when she sees you." Michael entered the boarding house and was taken to a small but cozy room. Mrs. Rose brought him a coffee and sat down beside him. "My son, Catherine is one of the kindest people I have ever met in my life. She helps all the residents here, sews clothes for free for those in need, and takes care of the sick. But she carries a sadness in her eyes that breaks your heart." Does she talk about me?" "Yes, she does. She knows your old address. She knows you were married. She knows about your little girl. But she never had the courage to look for you because she thought you would reject her." Michael felt his heart tighten. All these years, they had been so close and yet so far apart. It was almost noon when Michael heard footsteps on the boarding house stairs. Mrs. Rose stood up quickly. "That must be her. Michael, do you want me to prepare her to see you, or would you prefer it to be a surprise?" "I think it's better if you tell her I'm here. I don't want it to be too much of a shock." Mrs. Rose went upstairs, and Michael could hear muffled voices. First Mrs. Rose's voice explaining something, then a woman's voice that seemed to hesitate and ask questions. "Dear listener, if you are enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing." A few minutes later, footsteps came down the stairs. Slow, hesitant footsteps. When Catherine Roberts Anderson appeared in the doorway of the living room, Michael felt as if time had stopped. She was a woman of about 50, with brown hair streaked with grey, green eyes just like his, a delicate face marked by the years but still beautiful. She stopped at the door, her hands trembling, her eyes filled with tears. "Michael?" Her voice was almost a whisper. "Is it really you, my son?" Michael stood up from the chair, also emotional. "It's me, Mum. I got your letter." Catherine put her hand to her mouth and began to cry. Michael took a few steps toward her, and then, after more than 30 years, mother and son embraced. It was a long hug, full of longing, forgiveness, and a love that had been interrupted, but never lost. "My dear son," Catherine whispered in his ear. How many times I dreamed of this moment. They sat together on the boarding house sofa, and Catherine held Michael's hands as if she were afraid he would disappear. "Michael, I need to tell you everything. You need to know what really happened." For the next 2 hours, Catherine told her story. How she had gotten pregnant at 19 by a boyfriend who abandoned her when he found out about the pregnancy. how her traditional and religious family had been ashamed, how her father, a respected merchant in the town, decided she should be institutionalized to avoid staining the family name. They said I had postpartum depression, that I wasn't fit to take care of you. But I was fine, Michael. I loved you more than my own life. Catherine told him about the 5 years she spent institutionalized, about how she was medicated by force, about how she tried to escape several times to look for her son. When I finally got out of there, you were already 6 years old. I looked for you desperately, but your adoptive father had moved to another city. It took me years to find out where you were. Why did you never approach me after you found me? Asked Michael, trying to understand. Because when I finally managed to locate you, you were already happy, married, with a life built. I didn't want to destroy your peace. I decided just to follow from a distance, to root for you, to help when I could. Help how? Catherine smiled for the first time since they had met. Who do you think paid for your engineering degree, Michael? Michael's eyes widened. You? I worked day and night sewing to be able to pay your tuition. When you got married, I paid for part of the wedding. When Emily was born, I would deposit money into your account for the baby's expenses, always using fake names so you would never suspect. Michael couldn't believe what he was hearing. All these years his mother had been quietly looking after him. And when Sarah got sick, Catherine continued, her voice choked up. I paid for the best doctors, the most expensive treatments. I did everything I could to try and save her. How did you know she was sick? I always knew everything about your life, Michael. I knew your neighbors, your friends. When I found out Sarah was sick, I couldn't just stand by and do nothing. Michael was impressed by his mother's quiet dedication. Was it you who arranged the teddy bear and the letter with Sarah? Yes. Your wife came to me when she found out I existed. At first she was suspicious, thinking I wanted to harm you in some way, but when she saw that I only wanted what was best for you, she decided to help me. Why did you choose to wait until Emily turned 7? Catherine smiled affectionately. Because Sarah thought it would be the perfect age for Emily to understand that she had a grandmother. And also because I really wanted to meet my granddaughter. Michael remembered Emily, who had stayed home with Mrs. Betty. She really wants to meet you too. When I told her she had a grandmother, Catherine, her eyes lit up. She's as beautiful as Sarah. I have so many pictures of her. I keep up with everything through neighbors, from the school. I know she's learning piano, that she loves to draw, that she's afraid of the dark but loves princess stories. Michael realized how much his mother knew about their lives, and at the same time felt touched and a little haunted by such dedication. Mom, why did you never try to talk to me after Sarah passed away? I could have used some help. Catherine looked down. I wanted to, Michael, but I was afraid you would reject me. I was afraid of causing more pain at a time that was already so difficult. I preferred to wait for fate to find a way to bring us back together. They talked until the late afternoon. Catherine showed Michael a photo album she had put together over the years, with pictures of him in school, in college, at his wedding with Emily. Photos she had obtained through acquaintances or had taken from afar during special moments. Mum, this is incredible, and at the same time a little scary. How did you get all these pictures? A son who works as a social photographer took some. Others I got from Emily's school principal, who is a friend of mine. Some I took secretly from a distance. I never wanted to invade your privacy. I just wanted to keep some memories of the important moments in your life. Michael leafed through the album, moved to see how his mother had documented his entire life without him knowing. I need to take you to meet Emily, said Michael. She is anxious to meet her grandmother. Are you sure? I don't want to force anything, Michael. If you need time to process all of this, I understand. I'm sure, Mum. We've already lost too much time. They arranged for Catherine to visit Michael's new house the following Sunday. When Michael arrived home that afternoon, Emily ran to greet him. Daddy, did you meet Grandmother Catherine? Yes, I did, sweetheart. And she really wants to meet you. She's coming here tomorrow for lunch. Emily began jumping for joy. Is she pretty? Does she like children? Does she know how to make sweets? Michael laughed at his daughter's questions. She is very pretty, yes, and she already loves you very much. even without having met you yet. Mrs. Betty, who had observed the conversation, approached Michael. How was the meeting? Is she how Sarah imagined? She is exactly how Sarah imagined. A good woman who suffered a lot, but who never lost the love in her heart. That night, Michael told Emily a little of Catherine's story, adapting it for the girl's age. He told her about how sometimes people need to be away from those they love, but that the love continues to exist in the heart. On Sunday, Catherine arrived right on time. She wore a simple but pretty dress, her hair carefully styled, and in her hands she carried a cloth doll that she had sewn herself for Emily. When Emily opened the door and saw Catherine, she stood for a few seconds just looking. Then she ran into her grandmother's arms, as if she had known her for years. "Grandma Catherine, I missed you so much." Catherine hugged her granddaughter, her eyes filled with tears. "I missed you too, my dear little granddaughter." The Sunday lunch turned into a celebration. Catherine, Michael, Emily and Mrs. Betty talked for hours, sharing stories, laughter, and a few tears. Catherine told stories about when Michael was a baby, details she kept in her memory like treasures. She showed Emily the teddy bear that had been hers in childhood and now belonged to her great-granddaughter. "Grandma, the teddy bear is so cute. He's going to sleep with me every day," said Emily. "He will take good care of you, just like he took care of me when I was little." During the following weeks, Catherine became a constant presence in Michael and Emily's life. She visited the family twice a week, and on Sundays they all had lunch together. Catherine taught Emily how to sew, how to bake cakes, and how to plant flowers in the garden. Michael discovered that his mother was a cultured, intelligent woman who had kept herself informed about the world despite the difficult years. 1 month after their first meeting, Michael suggested that Catherine move into an apartment near their house so they could see each other more often. Catherine hesitated at first. "Michael, I don't want to disrupt your life. You've already gotten used to a routine." "Mom, you're not disrupting anything. You're completing our family. Emily loves having you around, and I need to make up for lost time." Catherine eventually agreed and moved into an apartment 2 blocks from Michael's house. The proximity allowed their bonds to grow even stronger. One afternoon, as Catherine was sewing and Emily was drawing beside her, the girl asked a question that touched her grandmother's heart. "Grandma Catherine, why were you away from Daddy for so long?" Catherine stopped sewing and looked at her granddaughter affectionately. "Sometimes, my dear, grown-ups make decisions that separate people who love each other. But true love never disappears. It stays stored in the heart, waiting for the right moment to show itself again. And is now the right moment?" "Now is the perfect moment," Catherine replied, kissing her granddaughter's forehead. Michael, who had been listening from the kitchen, felt grateful that his daughter had such a wise and caring grandmother. During this period of adjustment, Michael also began to understand his own history better. Catherine told him details about his biological father, about what her life was like before her hospitalization, and about the dreams she had had for their future. "Your biological father's name was Charles. He was a handsome young man, a medical student. When he found out I was pregnant, he said he was too young to be a father and disappeared. I never saw him again." "You never tried to look for him?" "I tried for a while when you were still a baby, but then I understood that it was no use forcing someone to love. If he didn't want to be part of your life, it was his loss." Michael admired the serenity with which his mother spoke about the painful past. Catherine had learned to forgive, even after suffering so much. 3 months after the reunion, the family decided to take a short trip to Hot Springs, a nearby town known for its thermal waters. It was the first time Catherine traveled with her son and granddaughter. During the weekend in the mountain town, they visited parks, mineral water springs, and had picnics. Catherine seemed like a completely different person, cheerful, relaxed, enjoying every moment. "I never thought I'd get the chance to travel with my family," she confessed to Michael, while they watched Emily play on the hotel playground. "We'll have many more opportunities, Mom. We have a lot of time to make up for." During the trip, Mrs. Betty, who had been invited but preferred to stay home, called Michael with unexpected news. "Michael, you need to know something. I found some old letters from Sarah among her things. Letters she wrote but never sent. One of them is for you about Catherine." When they returned from the trip, Michael read Sarah's letter. In it, his wife recounted all the details of how she had investigated and found Catherine, her feelings during the process, and her plans to reunite the family. "Michael, my love, if you are reading this letter, it means Catherine has finally found her way to you. I wanted to be there to see that moment, but if I couldn't, know that it was the most important thing I did in my life after marrying you and having Emily. Catherine is an incredible woman, Michael. She loves you in a way I've never seen. All these years, she gave up her own happiness to ensure yours. She deserves all the love you can give her. Take good care of her, and let her take care of you too. Emily needs a grandmother who loves her unconditionally, and you need a mother who was always rooting for you. With all my love, Sarah." Michael read the letter to Catherine, and they both cried together, grateful that Sarah had been the angel who brought the family back together. 6 months after the reunion, life had found a new balance. Catherine worked part-time as a seamstress, which gave her financial independence, but she spent the afternoons with Emily when she got home from school. Michael had been promoted at work, and attributed part of his success to the emotional support he had received from his mother. Feeling complete as a person had positively impacted all areas of his life. Emily thrived even more with her grandmother's presence. Her drawings now always included one more figure in the family, and she had developed a love for sewing, spending hours creating clothes for her dolls with Catherine. One afternoon, Catherine was organizing her things when she found a box with old letters. Letters she had written to Michael over the years but had never sent. "Michael, I found something you might want to see," she said, showing him the box. Michael opened the box and found dozens of letters. Birthday letters, Christmas letters, graduation letters, letters telling him about her daily life, letters full of love and longing. "Mom, why did you never send me these letters?" "Because I didn't know if you would want to receive them. Writing was my way of feeling close to you." Michael spent the night reading the letters. It was as if he was getting to know his mother's entire life through her words. The letters showed a strong woman who had overcome immense trauma, but had never lost hope. In one of the letters, Catherine wrote, "My dear Michael, today you turned 25. I saw your birthday party from a distance. You looked so handsome, so happy. Sarah is a wonderful girl. I see how much she loves you. I hope she makes you very happy because you deserve all the happiness in the world." In another letter, "Michael, today Emily was born. I was at the hospital, pretending to be just a casual visitor when I saw her for the first time. She is perfect, just like you when you were a baby. My heart is overflowing with love and gratitude. You are going to be a wonderful father." Dear listener, if you are enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. The letters also revealed moments of deep sadness. "My son, today I found out that Sarah is sick. My heart is broken. I've already lost so many years away from you, and now I have to watch you suffer without being able to do anything. I will help financially with the treatments, but I wish I could be by your side to give you strength." Michael realized that his mother had been there for every important moment of his life, celebrating his joys and sharing his sorrows. At the bottom of the box there was a more recent letter, written just 2 weeks before their meeting. "Michael, my dear son, I can't stand living without you any longer. Sarah promised me that when the right time came, you would find me. I hope she managed to keep that promise. If this letter from the boarding house has reached you, it means we can finally be together. I have so much love saved up to give, so many stories to tell, so much affection to make up for." When Michael finished reading all the letters, he went to Catherine's apartment. It was almost midnight, but he needed to talk to her. "Mother, did I wake you?" "No, my son. Come in. What happened?" Michael hugged her tightly. "I read all the letters, all of them, and I want you to know that I love you very much indeed, and we will never be apart again." Catherine cried in her son's arms, finally feeling that all the pain of the years apart had been worth it. 1 year after the reunion, on a Sunday afternoon, the family decided to visit Sarah's grave. It was the first time Catherine would go along. "I want to thank her personally," Catherine said. "She was the angel who brought our family back together." At the cemetery, Catherine placed flowers on Sarah's grave and stood in silence for a few minutes, as if having a mental conversation with the daughter-in-law she had never met in person, but who had done so much for her family. "Thank you, Sarah," she whispered. "Thank you for taking care of my son when I couldn't. Thank you for giving me the chance to know my granddaughter. I promise to take good care of them for you." Emily, who had been watching everything, approached her grandmother. "Grandma Catherine, do you think Mommy knows we're here?" "I'm sure she knows, my dear, and I'm sure she's happy that we are here together." 2 years after the reunion, Michael decided to organize a surprise birthday party for Catherine, who would be turning 55. He invited all the neighbors from the boarding house, her seamstress friends, and even Mrs. Rose. When Catherine arrived at Michael's house, thinking it would just be a regular Sunday lunch, and saw the party, she couldn't hold back her tears. "My son, I've never had a birthday party in my life," she confessed. "Then let's make up for lost time," Michael replied. "From now on, all your birthdays will be special." During the party, Mrs. Rose gave a speech about Catherine that moved everyone present. "Catherine is a woman who taught me what true motherly love is. For 5 years, I heard her talk about her son every day. I saw her save every penny to help him. I saw her cry from missing him but never give up believing that one day they would meet. Today, seeing you together, I am sure that true love always finds a way." The party lasted until the early hours of the morning. Catherine danced with Michael, played with Emily, and talked with all the guests. It was as if she was recovering all the joy she had lost during the years of separation. 3 years after the reunion, Emily, now 10 years old, wrote a school essay about her family. Her teacher was so moved by the text that she asked Emily to read it aloud to the whole class. "My family is special because it has a very beautiful love story. My grandmother Catherine was kept away from my father for many years because bad people wouldn't let her be near him. But she never gave up loving him. She kept the love in her heart and took care of us from afar. When I turned 7, my mother Sarah, who had already gone to heaven, found a way to bring our family together. She hid a letter inside Grandma Catherine's teddy bear, and when my father found the letter, he looked for Grandma. Now we are a complete family. My father is happier. I have a grandma who teaches me amazing things, and Grandma Catherine can finally give all the love she had kept in her heart. I learned that sometimes families get separated, but when the love is true, they always find each other again." When the teacher told Michael about the essay, he felt proud of his daughter's emotional maturity. 4 years after the reunion, the family faced their first big challenge together. Michael was diagnosed with a spinal injury that would require surgery and months of recovery. Catherine immediately moved into her son's house to care for him and Emily during the convalescence period. "Mother, you don't have to give up your life for our sake," Michael protested. "Michael, for over 30 years I dreamed of the opportunity to take care of you. Now that I can do it, nothing will stop me." During Michael's 3 months of recovery, Catherine proved to be a tireless caregiver. She cooked, cleaned the house, took Emily to school, helped with homework, and still found time to do physical therapy with Michael. "Mother, I don't know how to thank you for all this," Michael said one afternoon, watching Catherine fold his freshly washed clothes. "You don't need to thank me for anything, my son. You're allowing me to be the mother I always wanted to be. That is priceless." During this time, Michael realized that Catherine had given up her own life to care for the family. She had turned down a courtship with a gentleman from the boarding house, had drastically reduced her seamstress work, and spent every day taking care of their home. "Mother, Mr. Gerald from the boarding house seemed to like you very much. Why didn't you give him a chance?" Catherine smiled. "Michael, I spent my whole life dreaming of having a family. Now that I have you, I don't want to divide my time with anything else. Maybe later, when Emily is older. But Mother, you have the right to be happy too. I don't want you to give up your life for our sake." "My son, taking care of you is not giving up my life. It's finally living the life I always wanted." Michael was moved by his mother's dedication, but also worried that she was sacrificing too much. When Michael had fully recovered, they had a serious conversation about the family's future. "Mother, I want you to know that I am grateful for everything you've done for us, but I also want you to have your own life, your own dreams. Michael, my dreams have always been you. Having you and Emily in my life is all I ever wanted. But what about Mr. Gerald? And your friends from the boarding house? And your own interests?" Catherine thought for a few minutes before answering. "You're right, my son. Perhaps I have dedicated myself so much to you that I forgot to take care of myself. But it's because I'm afraid that if I step away, you will disappear from my life again." Michael held his mother's hands. "Mother, that will never happen. You are part of our family forever, but we want you to be happy in all aspects of your life." From that conversation on, Catherine began to find a balance between caring for the family and caring for herself. She started accepting more sewing jobs again, rekindled her friendships from the boarding house, and even accepted some invitations to go out with Mr. Gerald. Emily, who was now 11 years old, also encouraged her grandmother to have her own life. "Grandma, you can have a boyfriend. Grandpa Gerald is nice, and you look prettier when you're happy." Catherine laughed at her granddaughter's spontaneity. "Oh, my dear granddaughter, you always know just what to say to make me smile." 5 years after the reunion, the family decided to take a special trip to celebrate. They went to Aspen in Colorado, a town Catherine had always dreamed of visiting. During the trip, they visited museums, went on carriage rides, and tried the local cuisine. Catherine seemed like a child discovering the world. "I never thought I'd get to see such beautiful places," she said to Michael as they watched the sunset from a hill in the town. "We'll see many more places, Mother. We have plenty of time ahead of us." That night, at the hotel, Emily asked a question that surprised everyone. "Dad, Grandma Catherine, do you think Mom Sarah would be proud of our family?" Michael and Catherine looked at each other, touched by the girl's question. "I'm sure she is, my love," Michael replied. "She always wanted our family to be happy and united." "And she succeeded," Catherine added. "Sarah was the angel who brought our family back together. Everything we have today is thanks to her." During the trip, they visited a historic church in the town. Catherine lit a candle for Sarah, thanking her once again for all she had done for the family. 6 years after the reunion, when Emily turned 13, she asked for a special gift. She wanted her birthday party to also be a family party, celebrating all the years they had spent together. "Dad, I want the party to celebrate our family. I want to invite all of Grandma Catherine's friends, Grandma Betty's friends, and all our neighbors." Michael organized a party in the backyard of the house with special decorations and a large cake that read, "Anderson Family." During the party, Catherine gave a speech that moved all the guests. "When Emily was born, I was far away, watching from a distance. Now, 13 years later, I'm here celebrating with her, and that is the greatest gift life could have given me. Our family is proof that true love always finds a way." The party was a success. Friends of all ages gathered to celebrate not just Emily's birthday, but especially the family bonds that had grown stronger over the years. 7 years after the reunion, Michael received a promotion at work that would require him to travel more frequently. He was worried about leaving Emily, now 14, and Catherine. "Mother, I don't know if I should accept this promotion. I'd have to travel at least once a month, and I don't want to leave you two alone." "Michael, you should accept it. It's an important opportunity for your career. Emily and I will take care of each other." "Dad, Grandma Catherine is right. We do just fine together. And you deserve to advance in your work," Emily supported. Michael accepted the promotion, but on the condition that the trips be limited to the bare minimum necessary. During Michael's trips, Catherine and Emily developed an even closer routine. They cooked together, watched movies, and talked about Emily's life as a teenager. "Grandma, can I ask you a personal question?" Emily said one of those afternoons. "Of course, my dear. You can ask me anything." "Were you never angry with Grandpa Robert for not letting you see Dad?" Catherine thought carefully before answering. "At first I was, yes, for a long time. But later, I understood that he suffered too. He lost his daughter and ended up raising you and your father all by himself. Maybe he thought it was for the best. Did you forgive him? I did, yes. Anger only hurts the person who carries it in their heart. I'd rather make room for love. Emily hugged her grandmother. Grandma, you are the wisest person I know. 8 years after the reunion, the family faced another challenge. Mrs. Betty, now 80 years old, began to show signs of dementia. Catherine immediately offered to help take care of her. Mrs. Betty took care of you when I couldn't. Now it's my turn to return the favor. During the following months, Catherine divided her time between taking care of her own home and helping with Mrs. Betty. Michael was impressed by his mother's willingness. Mom, you don't have to overextend yourself. We can hire someone to help with Mrs. Betty. Michael, she is family. Family takes care of family. Catherine cared for Mrs. Betty with the same dedication she showed to everyone in the family. She prepared the special meals the older woman liked, helped with baths, and took her to doctor's appointments. Catherine, Mrs. Betty said in a moment of clarity, you are the daughter I never had. Thank you for taking care of me. You took care of my son and my granddaughter when I couldn't. Now it's my turn to take care of you. 9 years after the reunion, Emily was preparing for her college entrance exams. She wanted to study psychology, inspired by her own family's history. Grandma Catherine, I want to help other families who have gone through separations like ours. I want to study to better understand how people can heal. Catherine was proud of her granddaughter's choice. Emily, you are going to be a wonderful psychologist. You have a big heart and you already understand so much about love and forgiveness. While studying for her exams, Catherine helped Emily whenever she could, especially with essay writing. Grandma, how did you learn to write so well? During the years in the institution, writing was my escape. I wrote letters to your father, stories, poems. It was my way of keeping my sanity. Emily passed the psychology entrance exam on her first try. The whole family celebrated as if it were a victory for everyone. 10 years after the reunion, Michael decided to write a book telling the family's story. He wanted to document everything so future generations would know the importance of love and forgiveness. Mom, I want to write our story. I think other people can be inspired by what we went through. That's a good idea, son. But are you sure you want to expose our lives like that? I'm sure. Our story can help other families who are separated to reunite. Michael spent months interviewing Catherine, recovering memories, organizing the letters and photos. The book became a family project, with Emily helping with the revision and Catherine providing important details. When the book was finished, they organized a launch at the local bookstore. Dozens of people attended, including all the family's friends over the years. This book is about the power of a mother's love and about how it's never too late for a family to reunite, Michael said during the launch. The book had an unexpected impact. Several people contacted Michael to share similar stories of separated families who managed to reunite. An elderly lady wrote, I read your book and was inspired to look for my son who was adopted 40 years ago. We found each other last week. Thank you for showing us that it's never too late to start over. A middle-aged man called, Your story helped me forgive my mother, who abandoned me as a child. I found out she was also forced to leave me. Thank you for teaching me about forgiveness. Catherine was moved by the impact her story was having on other people's lives. Michael, I never imagined our suffering could become a source of hope for other families. Mum, your story is proof that love always wins, no matter how long it takes. 11 years after the reunion, Emily was in her 3rd year of psychology and interning at a clinic specializing in family reunification. Grandma Catherine, every day during my internship, I think about our story. You are my inspiration for helping other people. Catherine was proud of her granddaughter's dedication to helping other families. Emily, you are turning our pain into healing for other people. That is very beautiful. During this period, Emily started dating a college classmate, a young man named Nathan who knew the family's history and greatly admired Catherine. Mrs. Catherine, you are an example of strength and determination, said Nathan during one of his visits to the family. Thank you, Nathan. You seem like a good young man for our Emily. Michael approved of his daughter's relationship, but he couldn't help the melancholy of seeing her grow up. Mom, it seems like just yesterday that Emily was a 7-year-old child handing me the teddy bear. And look how well she has grown up, Michael. She is a mature, intelligent young woman with a good heart. Sarah would be proud. 12 years after the reunion, the family experienced a special joy. Catherine decided to marry Mr. Gerald. Mom, I am very happy for you, said Michael when Catherine told him the news. Are you sure, my son? I don't want you to think I am dividing my love. Mom, love isn't divided. It multiplies. The more people you love and are loved by, the better it is for all of us. The wedding was simple, at the neighborhood church, with all the family and friends present. Emily was her grandmother's maid of honor, and Michael walked Catherine down the aisle. Grandma Catherine, you look beautiful, whispered Emily into her grandmother's ear before the ceremony. Thank you, my dear. I never thought I would get married at 68, but life holds wonderful surprises for us. Mr. Gerald, a kind and caring man, had won the heart not only of Catherine but of the entire family. Michael, I want you to know that I will never try to take a place that isn't mine in Catherine's life. I love her for who she is, with all of her history, said Gerald on the wedding day. Gerald, you are only adding love to our family. That is always welcome. After the wedding, Catherine continued living in the apartment near Michael's house, but now with Gerald. The family dynamic adjusted naturally to include the new member. 13 years after the reunion, Emily was graduating with a degree in psychology. Her thesis was on family reunification, based on her own experience. Dad, Grandma Catherine, I want to dedicate my graduation to both of you. You taught me everything about love, forgiveness, and family. The graduation was an emotional moment for the whole family. Catherine was in the front row, crying with pride as she watched her granddaughter receive her diploma. Sarah, wherever you are, your daughter has graduated, whispered Catherine, looking up at the sky. After graduation, Emily was hired by the same clinic where she had interned. Her specialty became helping families in the process of reunification. Grandma, every day at work I tell our story to people who are losing hope. You are my greatest tool, Emily joked. I'm glad our story can give people hope, my dear. 14 years after the reunion, Michael received an unexpected proposal. A production company wanted to turn their book into a television movie. Mom, what do you think? Do you want our story to become a movie? Catherine hesitated. Michael, our story is very personal. Are you sure we want to expose it like that? Mom, think of how many families could be inspired, how many separated children and mothers might reunite after watching our movie. After much family discussion, they decided to accept the proposal. The movie was filmed in Denver, at the actual locations where the story happened. It's strange to see actors playing us, commented Catherine during the filming. But it's beautiful to see our story being told to the entire United States, replied Michael. The movie aired on national television and had exceptional ratings. Hundreds of people contacted the production company with similar stories. I have no idea how much good you've done, said the film's director. We've received accounts from dozens of families who reunited after watching the movie. 15 years after the reunion, Emily married Nathan in a beautiful ceremony at the same location where Catherine and Gerald had gotten married. Grandma Catherine, I want you to know that the love you taught me is the love I'm bringing into my marriage, Emily said on her wedding day. My dear granddaughter, you deserve all the happiness in the world. Nathan is a wonderful young man. The wedding was a celebration of love in all its forms. Michael walked his daughter down the aisle. Catherine and Gerald were the witnesses, and even a photo of Sarah was present at the ceremony. During the reception, Catherine danced with Michael, moved to see how the family had grown. Mother, when I was a child and didn't have you, I dreamed of dancing with my mother at my wedding. Today I'm dancing with my mother at my daughter's wedding. Life has given us back everything we lost and more. My dear son, we are a blessed family. 16 years after the reunion, Emily became pregnant. The news filled the entire family with joy. Grandma Catherine, my son is going to have a great-grandmother who loves him unconditionally. How lucky he is, said Emily. Catherine was radiant at the prospect of becoming a great-grandmother. "Emily, this baby will be born into a family full of love. How different from when you and your father were born." During the pregnancy, Catherine knitted baby clothes, prepared the layette, and helped Emily with all the preparations. "Grandma, you're more excited than I am," Emily joked. "It's just that it will be my first great-grandchild. After so many years without a family, now our family is growing." When the baby was born, a boy named Robert Sarah, honoring his adoptive great-grandfather and grandmother, Catherine was at the hospital along with Michael. "Dad, Grandma Catherine, I want you to be the first to hold Robert Sarah," said Emily. Catherine held the baby in her arms with tears in her eyes. "Hello, my dear great-grandson. Welcome to the Anderson family." Michael watched his mother holding his grandson and was moved thinking about how life had come full circle. "Mother, you are holding the fourth generation of our family." "And may he grow up knowing he is very much loved," said Catherine, kissing the baby's forehead. 17 years after the reunion, the family was gathered celebrating Robert Sarah's first birthday. It was a sunny Sunday afternoon, and everyone was in Michael's backyard. Catherine, now 72, was sitting in the shade holding her great-grandson as he played. Michael, 48, was preparing the barbecue. Emily, 24, was setting the table with Nathan. Gerald was helping Michael with the grill. "Dad, do you remember when I was 7 and I gave you the teddy bear?" asked Emily. "How could I forget? It was the day that changed our lives forever." "And to think that if Mom Sarah hadn't planned everything," Emily continued. "Sarah was our guardian angel," said Catherine. "She took care of you when I couldn't, and then she made sure we found each other." Robert Sarah, in his great-grandmother's lap, babbled happy sounds as if he were part of the conversation. "Look at that. He wants to be part of the family conversation," Nathan joked. "He's an Anderson," said Michael. "He likes to be in the middle of everyone." During lunch, they reminisced about special moments from the past 17 years, the trips they took together, the birthdays they celebrated, the challenges they faced. "You know what moves me the most about all of this?" said Catherine. "It's that we managed to build a family based on love and forgiveness. Even after so many years apart, we were able to love each other unconditionally. And look how our family has grown," added Michael. "It started with just me and Emily. Then you arrived, then Gerald, Nathan, and now Robert Sarah." "And there are more people coming," said Emily with a mysterious smile. Everyone stopped eating and looked at her. "Emily, are you—" began Catherine. "I'm pregnant again," confirmed Emily, laughing at everyone's surprise. The whole family erupted in shouts of joy. Catherine got up from her chair with Robert Sarah in her arms and hugged her granddaughter. "My dear granddaughter, what wonderful news! Grandma, now you'll have 2 great-grandchildren to spoil." Michael hugged his daughter, emotional. "Emily, our family is getting bigger and bigger. And more united, Dad." That afternoon, as the sun set over Denver, the Anderson family was gathered in the backyard, celebrating the present and dreaming of the future. Catherine looked at everyone around her and remembered the letter she had written to Michael 17 years earlier. Back then she was a lonely woman, living on longing and hope. Now she was the matriarch of a large, close-knit family. "You know what I think about our story?" Catherine said to Michael as they watched the children play. "I think sometimes life separates us from the people we love not to punish us, but to teach us the value of true love. What do you mean, Mom? If I had raised you from a baby, perhaps our love would be natural, taken for granted. But because we were separated and found each other again, we know exactly the value of being together. Every family moment is conscious, is chosen, is celebrated." Michael reflected on his mother's words. "You're right. Our story taught us not to take anything for granted. And it also taught us that true love always finds a way, no matter how long it takes or how many obstacles appear." When night fell and everyone was getting ready to leave, Catherine asked the family to gather for a picture. "I want a picture of all of us together, to keep in our memory and to show future generations how beautiful our family is." They positioned themselves in the backyard, with Catherine in the center, holding Robert Sarah, Michael and Emily by her side, Nathan and Gerald completing the group. "This photo will go in the album next to that first baby picture of yours that I kept all these years," Catherine said to Michael. "And one day Robert Sarah will see this picture and learn the story of our family," added Emily. When everyone had finally said their goodbyes and Catherine and Gerald had gone to their apartment, Michael stayed alone in the backyard for a few minutes. He looked at the starry sky of Denver and thought of Sarah, his wife who had made everything possible. "Sarah, my love, our family is complete. Thank you for taking care of everything, even when you were no longer here with us. Thank you for giving me the chance to know my mother, and for allowing Emily to have a grandmother." A gentle breeze passed through the backyard, like a loving response. Michael went into the house knowing that the next day life would continue with its normal routine, but that every day would be special because his family was united. In the next house, Catherine and Gerald were also getting ready for bed. "Catherine, have you ever stopped to think about how much your life has changed in the last 17 years?" asked Gerald. "I think about it every day, my dear. I spent 30 years of my life waiting for a miracle, and that miracle finally happened. And now I'm going to enjoy every moment with my family. I'm going to take care of my great-grandchildren. I'm going to see Emily grow as a mother. I'm going to watch Michael grow old by my side. I'm going to live all the moments I dreamed of during those difficult years. You are an incredible woman, Catherine. Your story is proof that we should never give up on our dreams. And you, Gerald, are the perfect companion for this stage of my life. Thank you for loving me exactly as I am, with all my history." They slept embraced, two hearts that found each other in maturity and completed a family that was already full of love. The next morning, like every morning for the last 17 years, Catherine woke up grateful to have her family back. She prepared breakfast, thinking that perhaps Michael would show up with Emily and little Robert Sarah, as they used to do on Sundays. And as expected, at 9 o'clock in the morning, the doorbell rang. "Good morning, Grandma Catherine," shouted Emily from the gate. "I brought Robert Sarah to have breakfast with his great-grandmother." Catherine opened the door with her heart overflowing with joy, as she had done every day for 17 years. Come in. The coffee is nice and hot, and I made those cookies that Robert Sarah loves." And so another day began in the life of the Anderson family, a family that had learned that true love overcomes any obstacle and that it's never too late to start over. End of story. Now tell me, dear listener, what did you think of this touching story of family love? Do you think Catherine made the right decision by waiting so long to reunite with Michael? And Michael, do you think he should have looked for his biological mother sooner? Leave your honest opinion in the comments. We want to know where you're following us from and how our story touched your heart. Don't forget to leave your like and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other touching stories like this one.